it's certainly going to be a different landscape for employees and consumers worldwide as we shift into this new normal. Coming up after this next session, be sure to stick around for another exciting cocktail demonstration featuring Kopali rum. This next session is brought to you by New Holland Spirits featuring Knickerbocker American Gin. New Holland is recognized as one of the leading innovators in the revolution of craft brewing and distilling. Check them out at newhollandbrew.com. I want to welcome Jillian Vose, Beverage Director and a Managing Partner at the Dead Rabbit in Lower Manhattan, and Iain McPherson, bar owner of Panda and Sons over in Edinburgh, UK. Iain has done a lot in a relatively short space of time. Having learned his craft at the Voodoo Rooms under the guidance of some highly influential bartenders, in 2013 he opened up Panda and Sons, which landed its way on the world's 50 best list. Staff welfare is at the utmost importance to Iain, and he has been proud to be paying his staff the real living wage. Jillian is instrumental in creating the Dead Rabbit's comic series drink menus. She collaborated on the 3rd edition of the drinks menu, which won the world's best cocktail menu in 2015. In 2016, the Dead Rabbit was named as world's best bar by 50 Best Bars, and in 2017, Jillian was named as one of the best 10 American bartenders. We are looking forward to learning some new tricks, trades, and tips for the new business model. Elaine, let's get right into this session, Bar Business 2.0.
Thank you so much for that great introduction. I'm so excited today to have with me Iain from Panda and Sons in Scotland and Jillian Vose from the Dead Rabbit here in New York. Thank you so much for joining us in the discussion today.
Thank you so much for having us on Bar Virtual. I'm excited to have a great conversation today.
Yeah, honored to be here. Thank you.
And for those of you that are watching, don't forget to hit the Q&A button if you'd like to engage with the guests that are here present. You can send your questions or any feedback you have. All right, on that note, let's get started. So obviously the pandemic has thrown everything into chaos within our industry, and a lot of bars have had a transition, but there's also some things, I'm sure, some lessons I know when we've talked in the past that you've learned about how you can prepare for the next shutdown. So Jillian, I'd love for you to share some of your best practices, just some things that you might have learned of how a bar can prepare if this happens again.
Well, we here in New York are in a pretty unique situation in that we have not opened to the same capacity as a lot of the other cities around the world, in particular Manhattan. So we are setting ourselves up so that we open only if we know we can really stay open. So that we're opening at 50%. So until we can do that, it just seems much more likely that we will remain open. So the 25% doesn't really work for us. It would entail spending too much money to open at too little of a revenue. So that's one way that we're kind of not taking the risk to open at 25%, because it's more likely we'll stay open once we're allowed to.
You find it better so you find it better to kind of conserve your cash right now and kind of just get ready for the real openings where you can have more success.
Exactly. Some of these smaller businesses might not have as much overhead, so it might be easier for them to have the owners and the managing partners be the people that are serving. Therefore, you're not spending as much money on labor. Whereas for here, because we're in such a large space and have so much preparation, it just doesn't seem feasible for us to do. So that's kind of how we're doing it by not opening. It's how you can really spend the least amount of money or lose the least amount of money.
That makes sense. And Iain, I know you've had some tactics. You've actually have opened, but you've transitioned. So what are some things that you kind of done as a business to prepare? You were a little prepared for this in some way, not knowing a pandemic was coming, but you have some things that you have business practices you put into place all the time.
Yeah, so, since day one, we've always looked after our staff. It's very much about kind of family ethos, pay them well. We do a profit share, but we've changed a lot. I think we've had to really evolve and pivot as much as we can. and spread our eggs into as many baskets as possible. So, obviously during lockdown, we created a new business called Edinburgh Booze Delivery. So this was a platform to bring, local bars, local breweries, local distilleries onto the same platform. And what we did was we organized and orchestrated a safe contactless delivery or collection service. So I was very much looking at a business model that was a win-win. So win for us in terms of keeping the bank balance in the green, and also helping other local businesses as well. And it worked really well, because we're combining all our individual audiences onto the one platform, which was great. And it was very stressful though, because you find you're doing a job or a business that you don't love. I guess like Jillian and I, we've progressed through our careers because we love bartending, we love the cocktails, the people. But when we were doing Edinburgh Booze Delivery, I had to set up the website myself. A lot of people that were offering help at the beginning were no longer so kind a few more weeks or months into the lockdown. So you really had to do it yourself. One of my web designer friends gave me a YouTube video an hour long and basically said, good luck. And so that actually gave me a bit of fire in my belly to prove him wrong. So I did build the website myself. And we use Shopify, and it's an incredible piece of kit. And it's, again, something I've really upskilled during lockdown, and now I was learning about the analytics, the really detailed stuff, the information you got from Shopify or any other kind of e-commerce platforms. Is you really learn what the consumer wants. And we're definitely looking at kind of integrating that kind of analytics aspect into the bars now. And collaborating with the bar community and helping them was great, because we taught them about the technology, but then there was a lot of other kind of skill sharing as well. Like one of the other bars knew how to do kind of label design, so they designed all the labels for all the bars cocktail to go. And then it was just a really amazing, nice community skill sharing.
Did you have that community beforehand? Is that something you guys built before this happened, that you had this kind of community of connecting with the other bars? Had you ever collaborated before?
No, not at all. I think the way I saw it was, we've always treated our team like a nice community. We're all one big family. Everyone has a voice. Everyone's a person, not a number. But so I guess I just kind of saw that making it more of a larger scale. And Edinburgh, and I think the bar community as a whole anyway is just very, very helpful to one another. So yeah, it wasn't hard to transition that actually. It was just it actually made it easier. I think trying to survive on your own makes it a lot harder, but feeling you've got others working with you makes it a bit easier to kind of get through this troublesome time.
No, absolutely. So Jillian, I know, and Iain, you mentioned about your staff. I know you've done a lot to keep your staff engaged over this time. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because this is obviously something nobody predicts. So keeping your staff, and Iain, you mentioned it as well, as part of the team, so they understand that there's a future that's going to be coming forward. How did you do that? How did you keep your staff? And why did you think it was so important?
Well, we were lucky that we already have systems in place to do online training of sorts with our learning management system, which is already set up kind of like you would take a college course online. So we had already been working on that for two and a half years, I think. So we were very fortunate to have that for people to, take they finally had the time to really sit down and go through the courses that they might not have progressed through had they been working full time. So that was, looking on the database, seeing people going through, say they were a server, they wouldn't necessarily have to go through the bartending modules, but because they had the time, they were able to do that and learn more about positions that they hadn't maybe done before. On top of that, we tried to keep the staff engaged by doing online course, online Zoom sessions that we would normally be doing inside the bar. We would have guests like yourself, Elaine. You did a great one. and keeping it not just booze forward, but doing things on personal finance, doing things on personality, different personalities. We did one for the Chris Cabrera did one for awareness for the LGBTQ plus community. So we really tried to switch it up and make it not just about our particular industry, but how we can be better humans in general. So I felt that kept people engaged, and also something to look forward to, and to see each other and to have a bit of banter, if you will.
I think that's really great. And Iain, I know you really worked hard to keep your staff engaged and employed. So tell me some of the tactics you put into place.
Yeah, I get kind of very similar to Jillian, just like regular kind of Zoom calls with them and just updating them where we are. And we're very fortunate here, actually. There's a lot of things I don't like about the government here, but they did offer a very good loan deal for bars. So there's like a 2% interest, and the first 12 months are free, spaced over 6 years. So we actually took the decision to take the full amount of those loans for all three of our bars, in the premise that we could try and keep a hold of all our staff for as long as possible. So obviously with the capacity reduction here, it's impossible for us to bring everyone back, even though we could or we needed to, we still can't. So we've got about 20% of our workforce currently still on furlough, and that scheme finishes end of October. So yeah, we've taken the loan out to benefit them. And I guess, yeah, and that's it. Just trying to keep them positive, and trying to keep people busy, And I think communication is so key, and we've always believed in that pre-lockdown. So yeah, I think just we have regular conversations with everyone, and thankfully, at least we're a lot more in a better position than New York. So at least a lot of our staff are kind of back to work now, which has been great.
That is great. So you managed to transition through all this. I've had the pleasure of being at Panda and Sons, and I don't remember there being a lot of food, but you managed to transition it into a to-go business. And you were mentioning before that you engaged a community. So tell me some of the things that you brought in. I remember you talking about pizza or something that was really popular. You tried out a few things that kind of transition your business during that time.
Yeah, so obviously we were doing the to-go cocktails, but one thing I was really, I guess, jealous or envious of during lockdown was how my other friend had food businesses were actually excelling during lockdown. I've got one friend that's got a few pizza shops in Edinburgh, and he's never made this much money before during lockdown because everyone's ordering takeaways. And I was like, I need to get in on this, really missing out on what's a good opportunity for takeaway businesses. So yeah, I've started teaching myself how to make pizza, sourdough, tried Chicago Town style. I'm going to try Detroit style. And right now I'm just going through this kind of a journey of pizza education. And a lot of it's been successful. But yeah, so that leads on to the fact that we're opening a fourth venue. We're very unfortunate to purchase our first venue freehold at the end of last year. So it's kind of become a bit of a problematic child for us during lockdown, but we're now going to use it to kind of open up, I guess, basically a bar, definitely first one in Scotland to actually be modelled around what's been happening in the past 7 months. So we're going to do pizzas, still have a small bar area, but it's pretty much like an off-licensed liquor store / pizzeria / bar, whereas quite a lot of it's encouraging just, click and collect or deliveries, or this sort of thing. So on the premise that if we do go into lockdown again, we've got another revenue stream, be it our food, and also we can continue our Edinburgh booze delivery from there. And also another reason why is because we don't think we can bring back all our staff, as I mentioned earlier. So this is hopefully going to be the kind of rehoming of the staff from all three of the bars that can't go back to work with things outside of our control. So it's kind of like our orphanage for the three bars as well. So yeah, it's that as well, and we're just preparing.
Why pizza? Was it, you mentioned something about a pizza oven that was easy, like you bought some equipment that you put into the bars that were really easy?
Well, but also like, high heat. You can be smashing out pizzas every 2 to 5 minutes, depending on what style you're doing. So we've just seen it, and who doesn't like pizza? And I'm not a master
I
chef,
definitely.
so I think yeah. Well, most people like pizza, but I'm not going to pretend I'm some top cuisine chef. But I do take, I love cooking, but I just find pizzas was quite. It's actually quite therapeutic as well, making dough. I think a lot of people have made breads during lockdown, and it is really relaxing. So, but also I also think it'll be quite fun for the staff that we're bringing in there. We're all going to take turns on either being in a kitchen shift or the bar shift. So it's very much going to be quite a fun learning curve for everyone.
That's fantastic. Now, Jillian, I know you guys have been preparing and changing everything around within the Dead Rabbit. It's such a big space. You have tons of staff. So tell us what you guys are planning for the big open.
Well, we are in the works to open up for November 1st with the merchandise shop. So for anybody that's been to the Dead Rabbit, the first bar that you enter is our tap room, which is a very narrow, long bar. So to have the 6 foot distancing, you would maybe have 5 people in there. So we said, okay, how can we make better use of the space? And Sean came up with the idea to basically get our woodworker to design shelving that would basically go alongside the whole bar, so it looked like a proper shop. And then we said, well, wouldn't it be cool to sell some nostalgic Irish treats? So things that I always crave are, some of the stuff, Iain, that you can get at any time you want in Edinburgh, but like Tato Crisp we already carry, but to expand that, have Monster Munch and hula hoops and all the things that we don't get here in America. I've figured out how to get them, but just Irish goods that we would be, stuffing our faces with when we go to visit. So we're doing a little like a mini spa in the back, if you will, in some way, and even like Twister Pops and things like that. So I think that would be kind of cute. And when you come in to get a merchandise item, you say, oh, I didn't know you had this little treat. And then we'll be doing to-go cocktails as well. So we've already, with the design and the labels and the lead times on those, we just got everything in. So but for us right now, we still have outside dining, so it didn't make sense for us to open up and do to-goes with all the outside dining still continuing to happen. So that's where the date November 1st comes from, because that's when outside dining ends, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we can do the 50% as well. So for us to, again, buy all the stock and get all ready to go, and then to be sitting there, with no guests coming in for to-goes didn't really make sense. And then we'll be using a discovery platforms like DoorDash and Caviar and all that, Seamless and that kind of thing. We'll be using that, as well as a pickup service, which we'll encourage people to do, because that obviously is cheaper. But so we basically have just been learning how all these things work and setting everything up so that we can really just go for it when it comes to be November 1st. And the merchandise, we also, not only will we have the store, we've expanded what we're doing. So we came up with some fun new things like hoodies and snapbacks, and we even have like a lighter, obviously masks. I mean, why not? So all these things, we made some really some fun new items for people to enjoy, and things that people have been asking for a long time, that we were like, we can't have all this inventory of merchandise, but now we're like, why not? So yeah, figuring out all that and waiting for everything to come in. And we even designed a tiki mug, which is pretty cool, but those take like 6 months to get. So when it gets nice out and tiki comes back, we'll be ready for that. So yeah, we have a bunch of fun things in the works, and we're patiently waiting. I think, like everybody, the first couple months, everyone was just kind of shocked and freaking out. And then we all accepted what was happening. And now we're taking the time to really be ready to utilize the space and, pivot to do, do it right. with the to-go stuff. And, I know people kind of were at first kind of scrambling to get some kind of to-go thing done. And they've kind of bit by bit figured out better ways to do it. So we kind of did our research and tried different places all over the city. And we figured out what would work best for us and what would stay, keep to our standards. We didn't want to just throw something in a deli container. We really wanted to make it stay on brand with the Dead Rabbit. So that's what we've done.
So what did you decide to go with? What can I expect when I want to get to-go cocktails going down to the Dead Rabbit?
I would have brought some samples. But basically it's we have our comic book theme, the black, the red, the rabbit. So we've taken a lot of our comic pages or comic figures, and we've made each one different. So I have one large platform that you can basically pick up and go right to the park with. I think that they're still going to allow you to drink outside. We'll see. And then everything else is really ready to serve, except for the citrusy drinks, which you'll get your lemon or lime, and you'll shake it when you're ready. And there's directions. I've even done instructional videos for those that have no cocktail experience, because you'd be surprised. So
where can we go for the instructional videos? That's what's going to be different, right? You can have like a cocktail kit, and then you can go online and see like you telling them how to make drinks. Yeah,
basically, some of them you actually just pour in a frosted glass and drink. But some people, they don't want to read the label, or maybe they'll learn. I don't know. They're really, really simple, but it's just like there's no way you can screw this up if you watch the video and read the label. And, I've made pre-diluted everything. I mean, we made it pretty much, dummy proof, we hope. So we've done our best to be as instructional as possible, so that the drinks will be as much like you would get them at Dead Rabbit as possible. But there will be, I'm sure, there'll be some people out there that might not get it or don't care and just want to throw it over ice. That's totally fine too. You do you, But we're excited to share them, and yep.
Oh, I'm excited! I'm so excited for you guys to open. I'm looking forward to the merchandising and the Irish food with my Irish husband. We can go down and be nostalgic. That would be fantastic, and get a Dead Rabbit Irish coffee. I miss those. Yep. Iain, so what for your to-go cocktail? You always do fun things like gummy bears and things of that nature. Have you continued that in all the bars for the to-go?
Yeah, we still offer the to-go, because what we find now is obviously, it's pretty much a lot more reservations since we've reopened, just because we have to through the legislation. But, when every time people are away, we're trying to not lose that revenue. So we do have a to-go cocktail menu for all the bars. But we're trying to keep it fun. We're still doing as many of the fun garnishes like like jellies and stuff like that. But again, we're trying to for the deliveries, we're trying to keep our cocktails a bit more of a longer shelf life. So we've actually replaced a lot of the citrus with like a blend of powdered acids. But then also the to-go drinks, something really quick that the person running the door can make really quickly without interrupting the bar service for the customers inside. But yeah, we keep it small. But what we're doing right now is, Panda and Sons has always been high volume, so we're always sitting on a lot of stock. And then I kind of had a slight freak out when we closed and saw how much stock we actually had just sitting there. So we've been very good at kind of utilizing the stock we've got. We've reduced the menu so we can kind of just get our stock down, because the thing now of kind of given the remit to all the managers is we need to make sure we're sitting on 75% less stock than we were first time round if there is going to be a second lockdown. And again, just kind of saving money on kind of ordering right now by doing that. So yeah, we use it to go cocktail menu for a lot of excess stock that we've got right now. Well, obviously we're making them as delicious as ever, but yeah, we're just trying to be a bit more smart about what we're using.
That makes sense. I mean, so I'm sure you would recommend cash reserves is probably the big thing. I don't know if everybody was prepared. It's kind of like in your personal life, they say you're supposed to have a certain amount, a couple of, 2 months salary in your bank. I've never been able to do that, but I'm sure for a bar, it's around the same thing, right? You should have a few months reserve prepared for lockdown. I know that's something you talked about when we talked before. So is there anything at last words you would have for those of you for bars that are looking to pivot their business for 2.0? Like any last words of advice you would say like about how they can go forward, or just, words of encouragement, I guess? Iain?
Yeah, sure. Keep looking at other options. Just realize that it's not going to be as fun as it was before. You have to work harder for less now. But also be prepared, be real. It's going to be at least another 6 months before we're really kind of getting out of this. Because winter is coming for a lot of countries around the world. And yeah, I really just to start planning as if there's going to be another lockdown. It could happen again. So just get a plan ready. Be it takeaway cocktails, deliveries, something, food. If the bar's closed, you can technically change it to be, a kitchen if you do things smartly and do it the right way. So just get ready. Be positive, stick together. If you can help other businesses and do something together, great. But yeah, it's going to be a rough ride, and you just have to keep positive and for the worst.
Jillian, any last words of advice?
Well, Iain really hit the nail there, but I guess stay positive. Use the assets that you have to your advantage. Like we're going to be offering our online classes for Irish whiskey, making money off that. That's something we've already invested in. So basically pivoting and using what you have, doing what you can, and being like Iain said, be realistic. Know that this is going to be a hard fight. 6 months is, I'd say, when maybe things start to get back to normal, when we can be at 100%, hopefully. But it's going to be a couple of years until we really get bars out of their debt from this, and people have the confidence to come back into a busy bar. So good luck, everybody.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jillian and Iain, for all your great words of wisdom and for joining us here today.
Well, we appreciate you having us on the show. Thank you so much.
And for all those watching, thank you so much. Stay tuned right here for the next session of Bar Virtual.